this episode of Customizing the Clone Wars with your host, Todd Peak as Peak-OB1 and Brian Fulton as Darth Daddy, with special guest, Elias Fulton. What will our heroes have in store for this installment? What wisdom can they provide? Let's watch and listen.
Well, hello once again, clone fanatics, friends, customizers, and collectors. This is another awesome episode of Customizing the Clone Wars, and I am your host, as always, Peak-OB1 from Peak-OB1 Custom Creations on Facebook. And along with me, I have the father-son duo from the Custom for the Kid blogspot, Darth Daddy, Brian Fulton, and Elias Fulton. How you guys doing?
Great. It feels so good to be back. I can't tell you. I've been looking forward to this all week long.
I've been crazy about this all day. I've been looking forward to this ever since we announced it in August.
That's right.
So yeah, it's great to be back, and we have a lot of great customs to show you guys today.
That's right. If you haven't seen our show, this is a show that primarily deals with customizing. It's a toy show. And, we love the Clone Wars. We celebrate it. We dissect it. We do everything about it. We call this would you say a post-game show? Is that right?
For sure. I mean, we didn't even start the show until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It was long after the show had already wrapped up. And now we're finding, since we had done our last recording, we had found out that at this point, Clone Wars is coming back to the Disney streaming service.
That's correct. That's correct. That was probably the greatest news we probably could have got out of the last year, right?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, and we have been off for a year, and that's kind of on me. If you saw our Clone Wars reaction video that we did in August, like Elias said, I had a terrible accident last year, lost pretty much all of my right eye. So if it wigs out, just ignore it. My resolve is never greater. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And we're back. I'm still recovering, but we are back, and we do celebrate the Clone Wars, right? We love it. We love it regardless if it's coming back or not. So if you're new to the show, spoiler heavy, spoilerific, spoiler fantastic. We're going to tell it all. We're going to say it all and do it all. Mainly it's... we just have a fever for making toys that we never got, right? We never existed.
Yeah.
We never existed. Yeah.
And there were a lot, especially in this arc too, there were a lot of things that were introduced, whether it be characters we're already familiar with in different outfits or brand new characters. There was just a lot of content from these episodes that I wish were made into toy form.
That's right, man. I think customizing in general has become... it's got a fever pitch going on, right? Mainly because we're just not getting enough characters that we want, right? They just
well, it seems like the direction that things are going in, they're trying to release more of the main characters. A lot of background characters or ancillary characters just aren't making the cut, and they're just not making it to store shelves. So this is the way we kind of fill the gap and get what we want.
I hear you. That's just crazy to me, though. I think people have an insatiable appetite for the oddballs, for the weirdos, for all the background characters to create the whole thing scene by scene. Don't you think?
I think that's really what made the Star Wars collectibles interesting, was the fact that they had background characters and they took the time to do the world building. And I think that was what really drew the majority of collectors to collecting. And, by just only doing those main characters, in the end, they really could be doing themselves a disservice.
I agree. So that's why we do the show, mainly because we just absolutely love all varieties of characters. This is primarily a 3 3/4 inch show, but man, have we seen some really cool customs just from everybody across the board. What was that collection that we just saw recently? And who was the collectors? What was the collector?
Was it Eric Bennett that you're talking about?
Yes. His collection is fantastic. Eric's collection is off the wall awesome. Don't you think?
He just actually sent me. We'll get to the. We'll be showing actually a figure today that he actually sent me only a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we actually showed it in our previous episode. That we had, episode 59. But since we actually had that episode, I actually have that figure in my possession now.
Yeah, this is, I'm glad you bring that up. This is episode 60, and we are right in the kind of the middle to the front to the middle of the 4th season, right? Right.
Yeah, I think this particular arc, there was 3 episodes. A year ago, we covered the first episode from that arc, and
That's
tonight
right.
we're going to do the following 2 episodes.
Yeah, that one was called Kidnapped. It
Yep.
was episode 11, season 4, and it was basically the Zygerians came in, or I should say the Zygerians came in. They have that little accent. I love it. The Coyote people, right?
Yep.
And they came in, and they're slavers. And we definitely got kind of a dark side to Anakin. And we found out a lot of things from that episode, especially Ahsoka finding out, not from Anakin, but from Obi-Wan, that he actually was a slave, right? He was.
Yeah, which was really surprising that Ahsoka never had that information prior to this event.
Yeah.
And what I liked about this, like Dave Filoni said, one purpose out of many of, doing the Clone Wars show was to illustrate how Anakin and Padme didn't have that fairy tale romance, that they had issues, they had problems. And, in this episode, it's heavily implied that when Anakin was undercover, that he had some type of a romantic relationship with the Zygerian Queen Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage.
And yeah, they were pretty cozy. So there are hints there of infidelity, which did you get that out of it?
I did a little bit. His magnetic charm. Is that what he said? Is that?
Yeah, and it almost seemed like when he introduced that idea to Obi-Wan Kenobi that it wasn't the first time that he's had to pull that trick out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see as future episodes come out that the Jedi do pretty much anything they can to just get their way, or kind of they'll do anything. They'll kill each other or fake a death or something like that. We have another episode coming up where they get into that very thing. So maybe even lying, their deception, it comes with the territory, and it's furthering that process of them falling apart. I have this little recording that I wanted to share. Hopefully you can hear it, but it's Queen Mirage. It's the queen. It's the main character, who the bad guy, if you will, and she has the whole Jedi principle down way before Barriss does. But if you can hear this, listen to this. It's really interesting. Listen.
Others we have forced into submission, for they have forsaken their ideals to serve a corrupt Senate. Every Jedi has become a slave to the Republic. The Jedi Order is weak, and we will help break it.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it just shows that Barriss was the only one who started viewing the Jedi that way, and it was turning more into a public opinion.
Yeah, you had all these separatists, and they're like, oh, the Jedi aren't so tough and whatnot, and it was just getting bad. It was getting worse and worse for the Jedi as we went along. So I guess let's get started on this episode, shall we?
Yeah, that sounds great.
We're doing 2 episodes. We're doing both the episodes to finish out the arc. So the first one is called Slaves of the Republic. And I'll read the little the episode guide that I used to read from. I will continue reading from that. It says, having defeated the Blixus Beast and the slave trader Dots Dinar, the Jedi learned that Zygerian slavers plan to sell Kyros' inhabitants into slavery. They infiltrate the planet Zygeria disguised as slavers, and Anakin wins an audience with the planet's ruler, Queen Mirage. She invites him to a slave auction where a terrible surprise awaits him. All right. Very cool. And here we go with our fortune cookie. Let's get into that. And let me see here. There we go. Those who enslave others inevitably became slaves themselves. What do you think about that?
It kind of, if you watch the arc to the conclusion, there's a conversation that takes place between Queen Mirage and Anakin, and basically saying that everybody answers to someone was basically the gist of what she was trying to communicate, if I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Slavery is definitely not something that's gonna solve any problems, right? And definitely we hear Palpatine, talking about how even the Sith had slaves their whole time, throughout their reign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a picture of Dots Dinar. You said you had some customs that you wanted to share. We also share customs from our friends throughout the world, and not just our customs. So you have a picture of Dots Dinar?
I do. All right, I'll pull that up for you real quick.
Like I said, this is from the other episode. This is from the first one, Kidnapped.
Yeah, this is from Kidnapped.
Yeah, if you have a picture.
So this is made by an artist in California that goes by the name Sneak Pick Customs.
Yeah. Great artist. Great artist. Oh, there we go. Nice.
So it looks like he used some G.I. Joe parts to make this guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's
I
great.
don't have the recipe, unfortunately.
Oh, that's all right. We have quite a few customs to go. We'll share a couple more of his a little bit later on in the episode. But that's really great. I would love to, maybe even get him on one time and, just kind of pick his brain.
I talked to him about that, and he's kind of shy. And he said we could use any of his customs in the future. We have open access to anything that he's made to share in our show.
Nice.
But he's a little too shy to hop on with us.
That's fine. Understandable. I know how that goes. Man.
Oh, yeah. I still get shy, and I'm on the show all the time.
A little stage fright, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anxious, whatnot. So here they are. Thanks for sharing that. That was really awesome. Really awesome. But here we are. We're going to the Zygerian planet, to meet up. And here is my first custom of the night. I thought I'd share my Anakin, or I should say Lars Quell. Interesting. He called himself Lars.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That was nice.
I picked up on that the first time we watched, and I was like, did he get that from his stepbrother Lars?
I wonder because I didn't pick up on it until yesterday. I swear. Because
honestly, I didn't pick up on it until you guys just started talking about it this second.
I noticed it the first time I saw the episode.
Yeah. So this is just the Mortis Anakin, the first rendition of that kind of that new outfit. I really love that like Jedi hand that he's got held up, and then I just kind of changed some of this stuff. I use vinyl because I work in the sign industry. So his armor is vinyl, and then I just painted the vinyl and then just gave him a repaint. Pretty basic. I definitely think figures benefit from a repaint, like a total repaint. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it definitely enhances the Hasbro paint job for sure.
Yeah, they have that factory look, and and sometimes they're even the way they make toys today, where they just they produce it in the skin color and they just paint the eyes, or they are going to that what is that called, the
photorealistic, or
yeah, that'll be interesting.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so definitely we see them in disguise, and we have Obi-Wan and Rex. Do you have pictures of those as well? I know you have some.
I do actually. Same artist. Let me just cue them up first. So when I do bring them up, all right. Yeah,
I'll tell you, it's just amazing how many people have just jumped on to making Clone Wars customs and just their passion for it. And that's really why we do this show. You know, we just have that same kind of passion that other people do as well, you know.
Okay, so this is the Rex and the Obi-Wan Kenobi in this Nigerian armor.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, these actually look like they're Star Wars parts on these. These don't look like G.I. Joe parts from what I'm seeing here.
Very cool. Yeah.
But again, I don't know the recipes on these.
Well, that's okay. We can probably figure it out at some point. You know, so a little bit of it looks like the Mortis Obi-Wan. You know, that one. I think I have like 20 or 30 of that Obi-Wan. In fodder.
Yeah, there's that one seller in Asia that basically says like 10 for like less than $10.
Yeah, that's why I bought them. You know, all those joints and parts. You know, those articulated parts. They're great for just making all the characters that you need. You know?
I agree completely.
Yeah. Awesome. So here we go back with the episode. A lot to cover here, so I'll try to speed through it a little bit. They go to Zygeria, and you get just this whole bunch of bad guys in the background. You see.
Is that a baby Gundark?
No, that's Pick there, and he's having a knife fight with one of those. It's a Trandoshan monkey. That's what they call them. They're Trandoshan.
Oh, okay.
The first appearance was on that planet where Ahsoka was captive of the Trandoshans. You know, I can't recall what the name is right now, but they call it a Trandoshan monkey.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but a little bit of whimsy, right? Right as we start, right?
That's the great part about Star Wars.
Yeah. Dave really picked up on that, and of course George was kind of the leader of this whole thing, you know. So you're going to get weird, crazy things like two like lower life forms having a knife fight. And here they are. They're walking through the what's called the bazaar, or like the marketplace or whatever, where they sell their wares and kind of the slaves, right? And there's the return of the slave Leia costume.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and there's
not a fan.
How do I notice these things and you don't?
You look at everything. You just take it all in.
Yeah,
I get distracted easily.
Man. It's all in the details, and we got our buddy Mugen back there, the Mugen T guys. You know
who else is there? That Mune right there. He was in that episode where they were trying to deregulate the banks, and he was the banking clan representative in the Senate.
Oh, in season 6.
Yes.
Not in season 6.
Yeah, season 6.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the Clovis arc.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also saw him in the episode where Padme, she did that speech about her aide Tekla, and she talked with the banking clan representative in the Senate, and that was him.
Yeah, I did recently see that he has a specific name, which is escaping me right now, and that's definitely him. He plays a central role in kind of some of the shady dealings, right?
Yeah, he pops up around.
I really want to make that Mugen T guy.
Oh
the
yeah,
Egyptian looking.
Yep.
Yeah, those are cool.
And they're like 10 foot. They're like 10 foot tall in this.
Yeah, they're huge. I don't know what I would use as a base figure. Maybe one of those Avatar figures that they put out years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you could just extend the legs or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get into your first custom of the night, and or Elias's custom.
Yeah, I don't have anything to share tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is the big
one. He did all the work on this arc.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of go over, we're going to kind of give you a play-by-play, kind of a custom recipe, if you will, of, what this character consists of. So if you want to pull up your pictures, just kind of explain kind of the process, what figures did you use? How did you go about doing it? And yeah, we'll start with that, just pull up the picture real quick.
Okay, here we go.
The first time ever.
Yeah, this is You're getting the official reveal here. I did a couple work in progress pictures
Sure.
on Instagram, but it still had a ways to go. And the nice thing is we threw in a little treat as far as accessories go, so be prepared.
Yeah. Nice. There we go. Queen Mirage. And what looks like, what is that character called? That
Convor.
A Convor, right? Yes. Isn't isn't Ahsoka's a Convor also, or is that?
Yeah, it's painted differently. It has more of a paint scheme similar to the sister from the Mortis arc.
Yes, of course.
So I wish I had really good an ability just to cast well. Here, I mean, I do pour casts with like as far as molding and casting here, and I don't have any gas chambers. I don't have pressure pots, and this is something I would love to make multiples of if I could, and just mold it and cast it. But unfortunately, due to just the limited facilities I have here and just not having the right tools for the job, I don't think it's something that we can mold and cast here at home. I wish we could, but I'd have to buy some more equipment that not only that I probably wouldn't have room for here, but I don't even have the money to do it right now either.
Nice. Well, that's great. Just kind of give us a quick recipe, Elias, of what you use. What are the base parts for the whole character?
So most of the figure is an Asajj Ventress. The hands are from an Orasing, a Clone Wars Orasing, and the knees down is a Shakti, also Clone Wars. And to hide like the stitching on her boots, I just put the plate of armor there from the episode. And everything else, like the tabard, the belts, and like her jewelry, it's all fabricated.
Nice. You mean cloth? Is it cloth?
No, there are some soft goods that I on the back of her legs, and I use that from the Asajj Ventress, but the tabard, the belts, those are Procreate.
Procreate.
Yeah,
Awesome.
basically he took Procreate and he just rolled it flat with a glass bottle and then let it dry flat. And then from there,
I just cut it, and then I cut it to the shape of the belts, and then I kind of like sized it around her waist to make sure that it would sit right. And then once all that was done, I marked it, I cut it, and I glued it together, and it looks like that.
Yeah, I really dig Procreate. It is one of the kind of materials that we use these days to sculpt and add to the pieces of the character. I'm guessing the ears of her head were also Procreate?
Yeah, that's also Procreate. Everything on her is Procreate. I don't think I really used anything other than Procreate.
no, you did use Aves on the thighs.
Yeah, I used Aves because Asajj Ventress, I don't know if you knew this, but her thighs are all bandages, so I used Aves to smooth it out and get rid of all the creases.
And Aves is what is that? If somebody
it's like this Aves fix-it sculpt, and you just mix two parts together, and it's a great medium. It's a little brittle when it dries, but it's easy to like smooth with water, and it's very soft.
Yeah, I was explaining the other day what Procreate is. It's similar to green stuff. You know, you mix two pieces, two-part epoxies together, and kind of make one thing that hardens. But they all have different consistencies. Like the work time with Procreate is definitely way shorter compared to like green stuff. Compared to what was the other one? Fix It. You can work on for quite a while. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think Fix It. I think the cure time is 4 hours. Procreate could be 3 to 4. I mean, not 3. Green stuff could be 3 to 4 hours, and Procreate's about 2 hours.
Nice. And what kind of paints did you use for these?
For the paint, I used Citadel for like the greens and all the colors of her face. And for her face, I did use a Citadel. I used Fair Skin, and I mixed that with a Formula P3 paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I used Formula P3, I used Citadel, and I used Reaper paint.
Yeah, and do you just mix it kind of with water, or do you kind of?
No, I don't thin it. Usually, I don't thin my paints. Usually, I just work with them straight. I'll mix them together to get the colors I need, and yeah. So we don't own all the colors. We have to make most of our colors.
Okay, cool. Yeah, where do you guys get your materials? Where do you get like your Procreate and your Citadel paints? Do you buy them all online, or do you buy them at a store? Or?
We do buy them online sometimes, but like at like those hobby shops. What was one that we usually go to?
Well, it's funny. Every time we find a place that sells the Citadel paints, it ends up going out of business at some point later on down the line. When it comes to Procreate and any type of sculpting materials, I get all those online. The paints themselves, though, we've been going to like comic book shops. We've been going to different hobby shops, and we're at a point now where I can only think of maybe one hobby shop in like a couple towns over where I can get the paints, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I live in a small city myself, and I have that same problem. But I am fortunate to live near a store that it's like one of those gaming stores, you know, the little miniatures and whatnot. And this is what a Citadel paint looks like. This is my orange. I use it as well. I think it is the best paint because it has that flat finish. You know, you definitely don't want to use glossy paint on like a face or something like that. Just a tip for you guys. You know, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but you know, I would say these are great paints mainly because they're so flat. You know, they're so flat in their base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The only complaint I have about Citadels is they dry out way too quickly.
Yeah, you run into that too. You know, it doesn't help when I have a ceiling fan overhead. You know, so we meet this girl. Thanks for sharing that. That was awesome. Such a great custom. The whip handle looked really good too. You know,
Thanks.
Really.
Actually, I can tell you about the whip handle, and we didn't make that completely out of Procreate. We our hairbrush, one of the little bristles on our hairbrush actually fell out, and we found it on the floor, and it matched just like the base shape of the whip so perfectly.
Interesting.
So we took that and we sculpted onto that with Procreate. So yeah, the whip handle is a brush bristle for your hair.
Yeah, I found it on the bathroom floor, and at first I thought it was like something that migrated from either the kitchen where we were working on customs, or maybe from Elias's bedroom and like laundry or something. And I'm like, oh man, how am I ever going to figure out what this thing, what this thing goes to? And then I realized it was from the brush bristle, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I kind of set it aside, and then Elias modified it, and yeah,
Way to MacGyver it. Jeez. That's awesome. Very good. Very good. That's an incredible custom, man. Good job on that. Well, here is my next custom. I thought I'd share. My next one is Slave Ahsoka. Oh boy. And what a figure, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Gosh, so much detail. You're going to share yours also, but and one of the reasons I want to share and we both want to share is we want to emphasize that you can really do it any way as long as you achieve your goal. You know, I mean, my figure is definitely different than your figure for sure.
Yeah. What parts did you use for yours?
Mine's just a basic Ahsoka, but the arms I want to say are what were the arms? I don't remember what the arms are. I believe I used obviously a different hinge, a different hinge joint, you know, because the Ahsoka that originally came out didn't have hinge joints for the elbows, right?
Yeah, she had the swivel from the glove down.
Those are a shock T. Those are shock T arms. That's what they are. And then that's with a basic Ahsoka body that was the astronaut version, you know, in the space suit.
Yep.
And what I did is I just grinded it down to make her look bare, you know, make her look naked basically, and then apply the clothing, you know, which is just rubbery parts. I mainly did that. I thought about doing cloth, but I thought I'd do rubbery parts instead, just so it looked a little bit more like it was going straight down. I didn't want to apply that graphic on there. And I see there the knee looks like it needs a little work, but mostly all the decorative stuff it's all Procreate, just like you guys did. You know, just kind of laid down a flat piece of Procreate, and like if you look there, these little things, these little circles here, I call them coins. Basically, what I do is I'll roll out a piece of Procreate into a coil, and then I'll slice it like a salami or like a tomato, right? And I make basically coins.
That's a little different than how I do it. Well, yeah. when I made the beats for her, I took Procreate and I just kind of like rolled it into like a ball, like a really, really tiny ball, like one that if you breathe too hard, it would go missing. Like a real tiny ball. And then I would just like kind of lay it there and it just stuck. And I was like, okay, good. This one's stuck. Sometimes they don't and you have to redo it. And overall, I'm really happy with the product I got in the end.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I achieved the goal at what I wanted. You know, I think the little jewels could have been a little bit brighter, but I'm happy overall how she looked, how she turned out. Great.
I would say she was definitely one of those characters. Like that was definitely one of the appearances of Ahsoka that I think everybody wished we got as an action figure.
Oh, absolutely. You know, well, they love those different outfits, those provocative outfits, right?
Now, hasn't Hasbro kind of said that they're not going to do? They're kind of getting away from like the Slave Leia. We'll probably never get a Slave Leia costume as an action figure ever again, due to things just getting more politically correct and
absolutely,
yeah. So this is probably one that we'd never see as well as the Ahsoka.
Yeah, I once talked to this is kind of off subject, but you know, the things that they don't really talk about anymore. I once talked to a Marvel artist, and he was telling me, what don't you see anymore in Marvel comics? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And he's like, people smoking. You don't ever see anybody smoking. You don't see Gambit. You don't see Wolverine. You don't see any of those classic smokers smoking in comic books because they're big against. Obviously, they're big against smoking and whatnot, but I think the provocative outfits, the crazy outfits and whatnot, they're definitely on the outs too. I think even the concept art for this Ahsoka was pretty racy. You know,
yeah, I agree.
Pretty racy for sure, and you know, it was just. I think her outfit was even different at one point. This came from a comic originally. You know, this whole arc was originally from the Clone Wars comic book. Did you know that?
Yeah, it actually. I'm trying to think. Isn't it like when they first? We actually have all the comics over here in the room. They're actually over in the corner there. I actually have the whole Clone Wars series for the comics.
I would say that when they remade her outfit for this episode, they definitely made it a lot less racy than it was in the comics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they did tone it down.
Like like. From an outside perspective, looking at the show, that's like a little like revealing, but like if you compare this to the comic book version, this is like it's nothing like it was in the comic. It was like real skimpy, and they really changed that.
Henry Gilroy was the one who wrote that. He ended up writing episodes for Rebels. He ended up writing episodes for the Clone Wars. So he went from the comics to actually working on the show itself.
Yeah, awesome. And this episode in itself, you know, I did not express already that it is super dark. This episode is pretty dark, you know, and the next episode is too. There's all kinds of crazy things going on, death and just a lot of death, right?
Oh yeah, there was situations where Obi-Wan Kenobi had been enslaved because he had ended up getting captured, and they ended up discovering that he was there. He was imprisoned, he was enslaved, and anytime he had tried to better the situation for the people there, instead of punishing Obi-Wan Kenobi, they would punish the other slaves.
Yeah, I know.
Basically make him submit and, you know.
Yeah, they'd make him
comply.
Make him sad. They were trying to break his will, is what she says. you know, and you get all kinds of crazy people up in this show, you know, and they find the next guy, the next custom that we're going to share from Sneak Pick, right? And while Anakin is trying to distract this lady with his magnetic charm, which he actually pulls off really well, because she falls for him pretty quick, don't you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she was like, I remember they were flying at some kind of winged creature, and he was flying, and she was riding behind, and she had her arms around him. She started nuzzling her cheek into his back. I mean, they were pretty cozy together.
Yeah, I got a picture of that. It's coming up at some point. But do you have a picture of Rashti? This is the Togruta ambassador or senator, and they are Ahsoka's people, actually, from Kyros.
Okay, so here he is here.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this is Governor Rashti. So yeah, he was the governor. Actually, we've showed this figure last year, and I guess I probably said it earlier in the show. Eric Bennett, who we mentioned having this really incredible custom action figure collection from the Clone Wars. I guess he said he had purchased some kind of a lot from another collector, where he ended up getting a bunch of these Clone Wars customs from Sneak Pick Customs. This is a Sneak Pick custom as well. And I guess when he bought the lot, he had already commissioned a Governor Rashti from Sneak Pick. And in this lot that he bought, there was a second Governor Rashti figure in there. So he knew that we had been longtime Clone Wars collectors. And he was like, you know, I wanted to give this Governor Rashti figure a proper home. And I know that you guys are big collectors, and I think your house would be like the perfect place to send it. And couldn't thank him enough. I mean, it's a great looking figure.
Yeah, really is. The paint strokes are really nice and everything. Really great figure. Yeah, very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
And here we are jumping right back into it. After they rescue him, of course, Obi-Wan and Rashti get caught again. And here's Anakin, and he actually even saves Queen Mirage from being all killed almost. And like I said, this is really dark. This girl doesn't even want to go back and be processed. She jumps off the building. She jumps off the building.
Yeah, I was surprised that they showed, so many people have labeled this show as a kid's show, and I think this is a perfect example of how it really wasn't a kid's show. There was some really dark themes, and didn't they show her at the bottom of they showed her on the ground, like
they did,
deceased.
Yeah, they did. I mean, this is getting dark. And one thing that's really cool, not to go off on a tangent yet again, I do that all the time. We are in season 4 right now, and we're getting to what's called the good stuff, right? A lot of people have paid more attention to from here on, don't you think? They were kind of starting to get sucked into kind of the darker aspects of it, right? Would you say that was the fever of the day?
Yeah, I would say this is probably the season, maybe even a little bit of the season before, where you started getting more adult fans starting to pay attention to the show.
Right.
And they got hooked, I would say. Like, instantaneously, they were like, wow, this is much different than what I thought it was going to be. And I think those dark themes really pulled in an adult audience. Like, a lot of us started watching the show with our kids. We wanted to show Star Wars to our children because we grew up with it, and it was a family show in some ways. But Elias started watching the show when he was 4, and probably by the time this rolled around,
grew up with the show, and by the time some of the darker themes started rolling around, I was old enough to kind of understand that stuff. So I think in terms of my age and the release of the show, things were kind of timed just right.
Yeah, I hear you. For me, it was just I was a big fan of it because I thought it was the next evolution of where Star Wars was going. They were like, oh, episode 3 came out and they're like, oh, Star Wars is over. I'm like, well, no, it's not. They're making the Clone Wars, and it's going to tell the entire war story, right? Yeah.
And it told the story so well.
It really did. It hashed out the whole thing, and it just made it better. It made the prequels better, and it made the connections better. So much so that, this is another thing that kind of, I guess it grinds my gears a little bit or just makes me a little crazy. Like, George Lucas set out to make this show connected, make it have consequences that you have to watch this show. And we just learned in Solo that came to life all these years later, right? I mean, look what happened in Solo at the end.
That was a great surprise.
You don't need to.
It was surprising for some Star Wars fans who had not watched the Clone Wars, because they were like, when does this take place? Is this taking place before Phantom Menace? Like, they didn't really know what was going on, and their brains were hurting because the math wasn't working out, and you know.
And that's what
Clone Wars.
Well, we did a spoiler thing in the beginning, so we can talk about Maul if we want.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about, though. But, you get these people that are like, I didn't really care for the animation and whatnot. I'm like,
it's important.
Important, I mean, I had a Sixth Sense moment, at the end of Solo. I really did. I was literally jumping up and down. I was like, this is awesome. This is amazing. It was awesome.
I've already watched Solo 7 times this week alone.
That's cool. It's a great experience.
Most of them weren't once a day. Like, it was like 2 or 3 times a day. Yeah. Like, he did it like all in like 3 days. He watched 7 times.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, the timing of it all. If you keep with the history, it's not just there's a movie canon and an animated canon. That's not how it is. I mean, there's canon. Rant over. moving right along. I just think it's essential. This Clone Wars is essential. Rebels is essential. That's not to say that Disney might be moving in a direction where they do animated shows that may not have consequences.
It seems like the new Resistance show, from what I just saw in that Aces introducing the pilots, it does seem as though they are still going to try and keep things canon. They're just trying to expand the story from that time period. So it seems like they're still on course with what they've done previously.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for that also. I love animation. I just think it's great. Animation is amazing. And they couldn't have made Clone Wars any more expansive any other way than having animation. If it were live action, it would have been like 10 episodes, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, the nice thing about the animation is you get weekly Star Wars, and like you said, Clone Wars opened it up where you got a little bit of horror, you got a little love story, you got your action, you got politics, intrigue. It really diversified what a Star Wars story could be.
Yep, I hear you. And here we have, thanks for that. Thanks for that thought. I hear you. We're going on the rant train again, but back to this episode. Wouldn't it have been great if we got an animated Gamorrean Guard? All the Gamorrean Guard stuff going on, it would have been fantastic. Look at that thing, man. He's hilarious. Rex.
I would love to have gotten that figure. That would have been nice.
Rex.
The only thing I would have wanted more than that figure was the clown version that we'll get to in season 5.
Yep, right. Exactly. Here's our classic homage to Return of the Jedi. This is probably the most Return of the Jedi arc that they ever made in the Clone Wars, right? He has the little nod, and then he gives him a little salute, and that's his indicator to shoot the lightsaber at him to get them out of there, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that actual scene mocked in like The Family Guy and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's hilarious. And here it is. Here's Annie getting dark again, man. He lifts her right up, man. He's like, I am gonna kill you.
And he said, like, if you misbehave, I'm gonna kill all your friends.
Exactly. you know, because he was out of options at this point. All the chips were falling in the Zygerians' favor, and they even got Ahsoka with that little neck collar. Did you notice I made the neck collar on my?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I actually just had Elias make one yesterday.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, because I did some shots of Queen Mirage with the Ahsoka, and yeah, when I was gonna take those photos, I was like, you really need to make that shock collar. Well, so I was like, grab some thread, grab some Procreate, just bang it out really quick.
I was like, what? What's happening? We're like, go do it.
Let's see him. You also did a slave outfit Ahsoka, and you did her a different way. So let's check that out.
Okay.
All right, let's get this.
I'm gonna pull that
up.
And while you're pulling that up, this is the second time we've actually seen her in that same cage. You know, we saw her in the cage during the Trandoshan arc, and she was all.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, she was in the same cage.
Now she's all cool. You know, look at her, just mellow, just chilling out. You know, she's cool as a cucumber, and this bird is like trying to peck at her and whatnot. So it's unreal. So lay it on us. Talk to me.
Okay. All right, can you see it?
That's great. Yeah, looks great.
All right, so what I use for this, it's all an Ayla Secura body, Clone Wars Ayla Secura, and the feet are from a Slave Leia from Return of the Jedi, and I fabricated pretty much everything. Her head is from the Scuba Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I like the head sculpt of that one, but
that's a cast though. It's not the actual.
Yeah, it is a cast, but that's what it's a cast of. I didn't really like the season 3 action figure release. I didn't like the shape. It didn't really fit Ahsoka as much as I felt the Scuba Ahsoka head did. So I casted that one. I popped it on the Clone Wars Ayla Secura body. I sculpted all of the clothing and how did I make the dress? The dress was Procreate, and I think I rolled it out again this time.
Yeah,
I think
bottle.
So I took like a glass jar, I rolled it out, and then I cut it out to the shape I wanted, and then I just laid it on her once it was like kind of like in like it was like almost dry but still moldable, and I just kind of laid it on to the figure when it was like kind of in that stage. I waited for it to dry, and then I painted on it.
Nice.
And the cool thing was that you actually did the burqa look as well.
Yeah, I poured another cast for an Ahsoka head, and I think you sculpted the head, made the soft goods. You sculpted the burqa head and did the soft goods. What did you use, like a t-shirt or something?
Yeah, I used an old black t-shirt to sew. My sewing skills were horrible. I've improved a little bit, not much, but yeah, I was able to do that. And the nice thing was, like, the head that actually sculpted the hood onto, it was full of holes. It wasn't even a good cast. It had tons of air bubbles, but you know, not everything needs to be trash just because it doesn't come out perfect. Sometimes you can take trash and turn it into treasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. That's nice. That second version, that's really cool. Mm-hmm.
And I think if I go over to where, let me just get through Mirage real quick. I have pictures of her with Mirage here. And this particular picture I kind of showed when they first got introduced. But then if you see from here, right here, Ahsoka's wearing the shock collar that we fabricated yesterday.
Nice.
So now she has it.
Yeah, they always use this name Scug. It was like a derogatory term, you know, that the Zygorians used the whole time. They were like, you little scug, get your hand out of my face, you little scug. I don't know what a scug is, but it's definitely something really bad on that planet. This is definitely another guy I want to make at some point. I never got around to making him just because he has that cool flying chair, you know, and he's their processing administrator, you know.
He's the overseer of Kadavo.
Yeah, Argus. Yeah, his name is Argus, and he's definitely a bad dude. You know, here's another terrible thing that happens. He drops some of the Togrudans to their doom. You know what I'm saying? It's just. Yeah, and here's another picture, of course, of her, falling for him. You know, she is falling for him. She's attracted to power. You know, she definitely. That's why she's trying to deal with Dooku. She's attracted to this power, to Anakin's power. You know, I guess maybe they had a better empire at one point in time, and she's just trying to get back to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's something on Wikipedia. I guess that slave empire was put to an end by the Jedi Order during the Old Republic times.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so they certainly have the Jedi's number. You know, they don't like them and whatnot. It's crazy that she fell for him so quickly. I wonder what he said in her ear, you know?
Ahsoka definitely shot some looks. She was like, what is going on over there?
I don't think what he said was kid-friendly.
I think that's why they kept it quiet and impossible to understand.
Right. So at the end of this episode, she just basically says, you should be with me. You know, your loyalty should be with me. And, forget the Jedi, forget your friends and everything. And you should just stay with me here on Zygeria. And, or whatever the planet is called. I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now.
Zygeria.
Okay, yeah. So that's the end of that episode, and we'll just roll right into the next one, just for sake of time. It is Escape from Kadavo. It's Count Dooku arrives on Zygeria to take Anakin captive and confront Queen Mirage about her growing alliance with the Jedi. Anakin escapes to rescue Ahsoka, but Dooku orders an execution of Obi-Wan and Captain Rex. They have been imprisoned in a slave facility along with the lost colonist from Kiros on Queen Mirage's orders. Whoa. And the Easter egg says, great hope can come from small sacrifices. What do you think about that? Still with me?
Oh, yeah, we're here. I was like, throw it to this guy. Let him answer.
I don't know. I don't really understand that all too well.
Yeah, I really don't either. Small sacrifices, you know. Great hope can come from small sacrifices. I guess.
Who sacrificed? Well, I guess.
There was a lot of things sacrificed.
People, yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the capture of Obi-Wan. Maybe him.
He did have to. He had to survive torture, and he definitely had a slave's life when he was a slave. Right, and
here is the whole mine scene, and this brings us to our Easter egg. Did you notice the weird scream in the background? It's not the Wilhelm scream, but do you know where that scream had come from? Prior to me telling you right before the show.
No, I wouldn't have, because I never noticed. But Temple of Doom, you had mentioned.
Yeah,
that's
right. I didn't know that it was from Temple of Doom, but I know that scream.
Like, have you seen Temple of Doom?
Yeah, you showed me all the Indiana Jones. You made me. It was important.
I went to school for archaeology.
I remember,
because of Indiana Jones. So.
Yeah, so here I'll play a little snippet. Hopefully you can hear it in the background. I have it a couple times. It's that really high-pitched scream, if you can hear it.
I think they play it like 3 times.
Yeah, they do. Here goes. No, wait a minute. Sorry. Wrong one. Let's try again.
Keep away from me. Jedi only make things worse.
As plans for you.
Did you hear it?
Yep, in the background.
Yeah, so that's crazy. I mean, it's very similar to what they did with like Rebels, where they had kind of similar music tropes. They also would put sounds that they used in other movies, and that's definitely from the mines of the Temple of Doom, you know, where all the little kids were. and he was saving them, and they put that little recording in the background. Did you hear they retired the Wilhelm scream?
No. When did they do that?
Well, I think Rebel Force Radio was talking about it. They were talking with Matt Wood, and he said that they produced some kind of new scream that they're going to be using going forward.
Wow.
And I guess it was in Solo. So it was either when the patrol trooper flies off of his
the bike in the Corellia chase,
or it was right after when they kind of like almost crash into some people and they go, "Hey!" or something like that. There's some kind of.
I guess I'm watching it 8 times this week.
Exactly. Listen for those screams because some of these old sounds. I think they had said that he only just uttered it a little bit. I guess we weren't supposed to know, but I think they might be getting rid of the Wilhelm scream, which is a bummer. These familiar noises. It's always great to have them in there. But I picked up on that, and that was the Easter egg. So we will move on. And we see Dooku here. Do you notice anything interesting about Dooku in this episode?
I like that they have his droid to the left of him. The one that they released in that, what was the Build-A-Droid collection? The last one?
Yeah. That was an amazing one. Yeah, it was that he doesn't have a cape in this episode. He's not wearing a cape.
Nice.
No, he's just wearing a suit. And here's that picture I was talking about where he's losing hope,
Yeah, he has that look of despair on him right now.
Yeah, but I don't think he would lose hope or whatever, but he's way stronger than that, for sure. Here's a picture of Anakin, of course. We see him get in there to just try to, kick Dooku's butt.
Yeah, he doesn't look so good.
Did you see that video that I had posted on my Facebook profile of all the times that Anakin has been electrocuted in this show? I was blown away. I never noticed till they strung them all together, but man, did he get electrocuted.
And in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. Have you seen the video that I posted yet?
No.
I'll show it to you. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's unreal. It became a kind of a running joke, didn't it? Running gag.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So while he's trying to take care of Dooku, he doesn't do it very well because he doesn't have his lightsaber. He uses the light whip or whatever, but it's a little bit too late for Queen Mirage, right? She actually.
Yeah, I think Count Dooku choked her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he definitely, definitely killed her. So. Yeah. He with her last breath, she was like, we all lose in the end, or we're all slaves in the end, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was we're all slaves in the end.
No.
What I thought was interesting, though, it seemed like Anakin actually had some feeling towards her because it wasn't like she was dead and he was like, whatever. He picked her up. He had her in his arms. They had that eye lock, final moment conversation, and it actually came off like Anakin actually had some type of genuine relationship with her.
Yeah.
How much time do you think actually passed during this arc?
A week.
Day or two. Well, maybe a week.
Really? A day or two? I don't think it was that long. It was probably a little longer than 2 days, considering they developed such a relationship and the people that were on Kadavo were so worn down. I think it was more than 2 days.
Sure. Could have been a week. Could have been something. Yeah. Just like Empire Strikes Back with the training of Luke, right? Could have been much longer than what we thought. Only an hour or something like that. And he's a Jedi.
And everybody says that Rey was a Mary Sue.
Yeah, right. I'm surprised. Back to the episode here. I'm surprised we didn't ever get a holographic Dooku. We see him so many times in this series that why didn't we get one? An animated version. You know what I'm saying? We
got a few animated. I remember we got the animated General Grievous. Was that the only one we ever got though?
Right.
In hologram?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we had small holograms. You had,
We had
like
a tiny Dooku.
yeah, we had the
And-
tiny Dooku from that came with Ventress.
Yeah, she
Right.
had on like a little handheld lid.
And there was a little Obi-Wan that came on the
Yeah, I
table.
was more referring to like a full size figure.
Yeah,
and then,
full size. I think Grievous is the only one we got.
right. Yeah, and I think we only see him once as a hologram, Grievous, right? Or do we see him more than once? Just a bunch of times.
I don't even remember.
Oh,
I do remember the figure was cool though because it had swap out arms, so you could have him with 2 arms or the 4 arms.
yeah. I hear you. That's a great one. That's a good one. Even though he can't stand. Oh man! And here comes the wolf pack. You know, Anakin brought the wolf pack with him. Plo Koon and his group, the wolf pack, they come in, and here we have a Warthog in his phase 2. I've yet to make this character, but I definitely want to. I just recently acquired another of this specific pilot. So I'm probably gonna make him into a Warthog.
I actually have some casts, I think, of that helmet with the piping.
You really?
Yeah, the guy who ended up making those ARC Trooper kits, he ended up casting some of those, and it's nice because the hoses are flexible. The material that he used is a flexible, rubbery casting material.
So is this person still making casts or whatever, or?
That I'm not totally sure. I mean, he was at the time I had put out my video. I know he took a break for a while, and then maybe a couple months later, he said that he was making casts again, but I haven't ordered anything in a long time to know if he's still active now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's Camino Casting or Camino Customs is the artist though.
And he might take casting commissions or something.
He
right?
may. I like there somewhere in here. It's out of all the videos that we've posted, it's the one that has the most views. And I think it's called
It's like
Art Trooper Kits. If you look in there, his contact information is in that video.
Cool. Very cool. That would be cool if he still made some.
They actually made Warthog with they came with the Y-Wing, that mini one?
Yeah,
the mini rigs.
Yeah, but it was the phase 1 version. It was
okay.
The phase 1 version. And it's a really nice figure. It's the only figure I still have yet to get from the Clone Wars. He is the only one I do not have. I recently made a custom Warthog, but I don't actually have the Hasbro version. So he's like one of the only things I do not have from the Clone Wars, and it's not this one, of course.
He's hard to get, isn't he, Warthog?
He's hard to get. Yep. And then we got Plo Koon and his awesome droid. That probably the best toy out of the Clone Wars because he's a Build-A-Droid, right?
Yeah, he's great, especially if you're a customizer. But it's also a really difficult figure to get a hold of. So it's for a while, Tung Hori, who was an Asian seller on eBay, he used to carry him. And I remember every time he would have that figure up, I would try to buy as many of them as I could. But it's been a very long time since he's had that figure.
Yeah. And we got Admiral Colburn, right?
Yep.
Commander Colburn.
I actually got a commission request for that character.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool, and I believe that's probably Comet and Boost back there with old Wolf with Commando.
And they actually came in a 3-pack, didn't they? That they released.
No, we never got Comet. We never got.
Oh, okay. What was that 3-pack that they had that came with?
It's Sinker and Boost. It's
Sinker okay. Boost. All right.
Yeah, but Comet is still yet to be made. I will definitely try to jump on him at some point. Probably would have been a good one for this. But they go in, and this is the best part of it. They finally get the upper hand, and Rex just javelins one of those.
Yeah, what happened was Obi-Wan, he kind of had the advantage, and he said, it's not the Jedi way to kill an unarmed man, so, like, you can't really kill me or else that soils your reputation, haha. And then Rex just comes out of nowhere with a javelin, he just impales him and says, I'm no Jedi.
Yeah. Yep. Leave it to Rex. Leave it to Rex to just kill somebody. Just.
And then his chair ended up flying into a monitor, as you can see here.
I really love that. That was great. It was really great. And in the end, everybody was saved, or what's left of the people of Kyros were saved, and they said, well, maybe we'll join the Republic now. That was
cool to see that the Togruta, like their head shapes were all different. Not everything went, you know, usually with the Montrals, like from in the past, we'd always seen them going like kind of the way Shaak T's would or Ahsoka's would. And it was nice to see in this episode that there's variation.
Yeah, they have kind of those wings and whatnot. They're a little bit different where they flare out, right? I was going to make one last year, in fact, for that first episode, but obviously what happened, and I think she got shelved at some point. I have one working right now, but still a long way to go.
Now, what's the name of this ship that's next to the gunship?
Z-95 Headhunter.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wish they made that as a toy. That is like one of the vehicles that sadly was never made. And I have a feeling that if that sale to Disney had never happened, I bet you we would have gotten that vehicle.
I bet you we would too, and we probably would have got a blue rendition of the ATTE.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
The Plows Bros back there, and I actually did Plows Bros gunship. I don't have a picture of it currently, but yeah, I did that as well. So in the end, that is those two episodes, and wow, I mean, really dark. Definitely.
I think what happened in the end was Governor Rashti ended up calling Ahsoka to talk in private, and he told her that he was going to join the Republic, and that was kind of like the big part of like all of this, because in the beginning, the whole reason this thing happened was because he didn't choose to join the Republic or the Separatists, so the Separatists just came in and took them all, and that was how this whole situation got where it was.
I love how they did the rescue too, where they pulled the whole
it was,
I guess not a Star Destroyer, but or
like
Republic
a light cruiser.
Okay, yeah, they took the light cruiser and they just like put it right under that trap door to pick everybody up. I thought that was pretty interesting the way they did that.
Yeah, with cables and whatnot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was really cool. Definitely. That is cool. And and that was those episodes. So I guess that concludes our episode.
Yeah.
Indeed. It was super fun to do this yet again and to get back to it, get back to being a part of this show. You know, we love this show. We're going to finish it out for you folks. We're going to make sure we coincide with the Clone Wars. We're going to give you all the remaining episodes of season 4, season 5, 6, and whatever comes next.
Soon to be 7, I guess. Yeah.
I guess we're going to call it season 7.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think they'll call it season 7?
I don't know. Maybe they will. Yeah. I think they will. I'm on board for it. You know, I was blown away when we saw that Clone Wars was coming back, you know, and just how cool it's going to be for them to finish it out. Do I think they're going to give us more than 12 episodes? Heck, I don't know. If they give us more than 12, great. But I think their plan was to just give us kind of a finale.
Yeah, I think it was about closure, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just posted something recently about. I think the plan was to, you know, have Ahsoka walking off again, and you hear Darth Vader breathing in the background or something. I'll have to look up the post for you, but it was really awesome. Some kind of fun fact that they had that it's definitely going to be great, you know, just to see the Clone Wars come back again. you know, and for customizing, you know, if you're a beginner, or if you're, you know, well seasoned, you know, like I am, you know, I've been doing it for 20 years, definitely, or over 20 years. Practice safety. You know, I mean, this has nothing to do with you know, customizing, you know, my injury that I had, but definitely wear your goggles, you know, if you're using power tools and whatnot. Do you allow your son to use the rotary tool or any types of blades and knives and stuff?
He started using the X-Acto knife recently.
I've been using it for a while.
Yeah.
More since since you started doing sculpting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the power tools, I'm still hesitant. Like, I never would want to have to call his mom saying, like, so we were making action figures and this happened. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So I try to keep, if anyone's going to get hurt, it's going to be me. But we have like safety protection for both of us here, like where we could both be wearing stuff at the same time. And yeah, I'm pretty big on safety myself.
Yeah, wear your glasses, wear your goggles, wear your respirator masks when you're sanding stuff. You know, everything you need to do to not cause yourself bodily harm. We are definitely pro that. So that is our show. Thank you for joining us. Next week, or not next week. We will let you know how the schedule is going to roll out. We won't be doing it every single week. Just so you know, we will continue to do little commercials. We'll drop you notes and whatnot of when we're going to be doing it as much as possible, just so we keep you in the loop. Like I said, we're going to finish this baby out. We got some great stuff coming. I mean, next week, you know what next week is, right? You know what episode is next week?
Yeah, Friend in Need.
Friend in Need. So, I mean, that's where it gets interesting, you know, to say the least. And so if and when we get to it, we will let you know for sure once we're there, if that makes sense.
We like doing it every week, but life gets busy, and sometimes it just doesn't work out where, you know, you can do it that way. And I know Elias just got the lead in the school play.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he'll be busy at least through to November. And but yeah, I'm sure we're going to have at least 2 episodes, you know, between now and then.
Oh, for sure.
At the very least, if not more. So
yeah, that Friend in Need, that's a one-off one. Some of the episodes we'll be talking about more than one episode, but sometimes we will just be talking about one episode.
It really depends on what we have to show you guys and what we have to bring as far as what customs are available and what we have made or what other people might have shown us to share with all of you. Yeah.
And that's gonna be one where you guys shine, definitely. Well, I know we both have Bo-Katans, but we'll get into that at a later date. Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for being here. For the people who have just stood by us, you know, and just been a part of the show with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. For everybody that's new, buckle in, strap in. We're going to have a lot of fun. We got a lot of great customs coming to you, and it's going to be great. So thanks a bunch. When I'm not here, you can find me on Facebook, Peak-OB1 Custom Creations on Facebook. I share all my toys. I'm on Instagram, Peak-OB1 Custom Figures. Those are primary places where I share. You can find us on YouTube, of course, with your channel, right? Custom for the Kid channel. And that's where our videos are. I also post the videos on some of my pages as well. So you can check them all out there. This was episode 60. And where can we find you when you're not here?
Best place to find us is over at the customsforthekid.blogspot.com. Also, you can see us right here on our YouTube channel. We also have presence on Facebook, on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus, Pinterest. So yeah, it's pretty easy to find us.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, until next time, thank you for joining us, and may the force be with you.
Always.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.